Okay, are you guys ready for your next storyteller this evening? Yeah, you are. That's the spirit. This next guy, you'll figure it out. Or you won't. Either way, though, it's going to be a good time, all right? Everyone give it up for Ricky Mauser!
I'm Ricky, and I am what I look like, a philosophy grad student. So here's my ethics dissertation nobody's ever going to read. My university thinks it's called Persons and Their Well-Being or whatever, but I like to call it Consider the Asshole. Thank you. Oh, no, okay, there's more. Okay, so let's get started. What makes your life go well for you? There are three main theories. The first one says it's just happiness. But your happiness can be built on deception or illusion. And then you might be better off knowing the truth. So it can't just be happiness. The second theory says it's desire fulfillment or getting what you want. But you can want all kinds of shit that's bad for you. So philosophers cheat. They start talking about what you would want if you were fully informed and rational, whatever the hell that means. So now we're just making up a guy with better desires than me? And that's how you're going to tell how my life goes for me? I don't want what he wants. More importantly, having a fix on my desires like this betrays a real lack of faith in the value of getting what you want. So we're led to the third correct theory, the objective list theory, according to which some things are good or bad for you, whether you want them or not. Great. So what's on the objective list? Introduction. We need to talk about assholes because we live in an asshole world. Has anybody noticed that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Assholes dominate our politics, both parties, our economy, our culture, and they're willing to use their ill-gotten power to ensure they stay on top. In response, we need to develop an ethical vocabulary for our times. And it should begin from the recognition that being an asshole is really shitty for you. And not just in the self-interested terms the asshole himself might recognize. I need an asshole, so Donald Trump will do, right? That's like the whole appeal? All right, great. All right, Donald Trump is an asshole, and by his own lights, he's done really well. He is the only billionaire president ever so far. But there's a sense in which he lives alone. Because there's a difference between self-interest and well-being. They're both about how your life goes for you. But your self-interest treats everyone and everything around you as just useful for you. Whereas your well-being recognizes that maybe others might have a well-being too. We'll see this difference in Chapter 1, Being an Asshole. There are lots of ways of being an asshole. Maybe you're having a bad day. You're just a temporary asshole. Maybe you're an asshole drinker, an asshole driver, an asshole pickup basketball player. You're a contextual asshole. Or maybe you are just a certified asshole person. Over time, across contexts, shit, man, that's who you are. But what makes you an asshole? Aaron James gives us 3 marks of the asshole. He says, in social settings, the asshole, 1, allows himself to enjoy special advantages. 2, out of a sense of moral entitlement, he thinks he's better than us. Which 3, immunizes him to our complaints. The asshole treats himself as morally special. And sometimes this is really obvious. Donald Trump is like an almost total asshole. He's almost purely self-interested. But I'm more interested in the secret asshole. This guy's sophisticated. Because he gets that we'll be more useful for him if we don't know he's an asshole. So he hides this in his behavior. He pays his taxes. He waves to our kids from behind his white picket fence. He might never betray us, but he's still an asshole. So being an asshole isn't about what you do. It's about how you reason. Being an asshole is about what you care about and how you care about it. Chapter 2, why assholes bullshit. Assholes bullshit because they care more about themselves than truth. Chapter 3, love and self-interest. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a deep commitment. Sorry, middle school couples. But if I love you, I can't just find you useful for me. I have to care about you for your own sake. And that has to be able to show up in my behavior. I have to be willing to self-sacrifice for you, to make myself worse off, to make you better off. I have to be willing to treat myself as useful for you. Not quite like a tool, but close. But the asshole's really bad at being a tool. He is so used to treating others as tools that he struggles to love. He loves shallowly and circumstantially, if at all. So he misses out on the goods of real, difficult love. Chapter 4, surviving and thriving. This is the one about grief, so this will be hilarious. Because grief is the continuation of love after loss. I lost my Uncle Wally in 2018, and I haven't been the same since. My grief has been really good for me, though. It's made me a stronger person. And Wally's still right here calling me out on my bullshit and making me way less of an asshole. But I think my grief is also good for Wally. Like it continues to love and honor and respect him. But here come the philosophers. Your grief can't be good for Wally because how can it impact how his life goes for him? Because he's dead. And when you're dead, we're supposing, you no longer exist. And you can't harm or benefit Santa either. Okay, well, I guess it does nothing for him. Okay, dweebs. 2 cases real quick. First case, I destroy your life's work. 1 minute later, you have a heart attack and die. That's a pretty shitty day for you, yeah? Okay. Case 2, you have a heart attack and die. Now that part is bad. Okay. 1 minute later, I destroy your life's work. But now you don't exist, so it doesn't matter, right? Of course it does. What this shows is it's not how your biological life goes for you while there's electricity in your brain or whatever. It's how your biographical life goes for you, how your story goes for you. And my grief for Wally keeps his story going in my life. So our well-beings are deeply enmeshed. So, what goes on the objective list? Sure, happiness is good for you and misery is bad or whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm not on my meds anymore. But we keep running into the goods of recognition, the goods of recognizing reality, of recognizing others in our love and respect, of recognizing yourself. The asshole likes himself, but he doesn't love himself. He's so infatuated with his self-interest that well-being drops off his radar. And so he comes to live in a world shorn dry of almost all its value. He only really recognizes the value that emanates from himself and maybe gets reflected back onto him by our usefulness for him. And so the asshole lives cosmically alone, surrounded by more or less useful objects. And when we consider the asshole, that is really shitty for his well-being. Thanks.
Ricky Mauser, everybody. Feel like we learned a lot. Feel like we're different people now.
I'm smarter.
You're smarter. You're smart. That's what we're here for. I have never considered the asshole. Well, every time I'm on a dating app, I feel like I have considered almost only assholes, but I feel like we've considered them on a deeper level tonight.